Hello, Roilers. Thank you all for joining me today. I just wanted to come by rather quickly and touch on some news that has come out in the track and field world about Erriyon Knighton. Now, Erriyon Knighton, the reason I'm doing this story is because he was definitely on his way to being a royal black and elite athlete. And so he just got suspended for 4 years. Now, we'll break it all down here as to exactly why he was suspended, what his future looks like from here. But I wanted to talk about track and field because they're ending their season. We just saw the World Championship. And if you're anything like me, I've kind of watched this young man grow up in the track and field industry. Now, for those who are unfamiliar with Erriyon Knighton, he is one of the brightest young, sprinting talents in the world. He medaled at multiple world championships in the 200 meters. That was his specialty. He won the bronze at only 18 years old in 2022 and the silver in 2023. He represented the U.S. at the Olympics, and he is really noted for his speed, his technique, and we were really looking at him toward the future. So that's what's so disappointing and sad. Well, what happened is in March of 2024, Knighton tested positive in an out of competition test for a metabolic called Trenbolone. Now, this is an anabolic steroid. Fred Curley also got in trouble about the same metabolic steroid Trenbolone in March of 2024. He tested positive, but then the USADA came back and said that it was some meat that he had eaten. So that's why he got back reinstated. But now he's in trouble again, and he got suspended in August 2025 because he was missing for multiple whereabouts. And those are they can call you at any moment, and you have to be where you have told them that you're going to be so you can come in and get tested for these metabolic steroids. So seems like there's a problem going on, and Gabby Thomas kind of jumped in the water in August when she said that not only should the athletes be tested, but anybody who has a coach who has been tested and found, positive, that they should be tested. So that was a shot right across the bow to Shakari Richardson and TT Terry, who are also under Dennis Mitchell, who was accused of that. So it's a lot of, things going on. But for Erriyon, it is over. He is officially suspended for 4 years. Now, what happened is March last year, 2024, he tested positive for the Trenbolone. And he said it was because he had eaten some oxtails. So he was eating oxtails and this metabolic steroids, evidently, that the ox had eaten or had taken was in the meat. So the initial ruling said that no fault, negligence, no foul. So in mid 2024, U.S. Arbitration Tribunal ruled that Knighton was not at fault or negligent. The tribunal accepted his explanation. Basically, they said the positive test was likely caused by these oxtails. But now, wait a minute. The World Athletics and the World Anti-Doping Agency said, not so quick. We're going to appeal this. And that's what they did. They appealed it to the Court of Arbitration for Sports. They argued that his evidence was just insufficient, specifically that the contaminated meat story did not meet the level of proof required to absolve him from the responsibility. So they basically said you would have had to eat 20 oxes to get the level of the Trenbolone that was in his system. So on September the 12th, 2025, they overturned the prior no fault decision, and they opposed a 4-year ban, which includes the credit for his provisional suspension that he had already served from April 12th to June 19th, 2024. So that's not a whole lot of time. What does that mean? He's disqualified from the 2024 Paris Olympics because of that. But Some of ruling had cleared him to complete in Paris under the no fault finding. So those that he will keep for that. So what's next for him? I don't know. Um, he'll be out of competition. If he's banned for 4 years, he'll be out to July 2029. So that means he'll miss the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. So that means they won't be coming back again to like 3032. He's 21 now, so yeah. He'll be in his, mid to late 20s when, he can play again. If his health, holds up and, if he continues to practice, he can get right back out there in 4 years. He has to stay in top shape. I don't know, can these athletes, these boys, he was 18 when he was burning everybody. So I can only imagine, when he comes back, those boys who are 18 gonna be pretty fast too. So I don't know if he really will have a career or if it really is over for him. If you haven't had a chance, definitely take a look at his running. I'm telling you, it was beautiful. And I really hate to see that this is how his story ends. Now, a high profile doping case like this, it carries a lot of reputational risk. So even though Knighton claimed no fault and the initial ruling did support him, the CAS decision may affect his public perception, some of his sponsorships, and no doubt his endorsements. He'll have to work to rebuild his trust, show transparency, and perhaps even engage in some education or, some community roles. The case may also serve as a lesson, for all athletes. You've got to be careful about what you're eating, especially those things that are strictly on that anti doping list. And so I definitely wanted to come by just to give a little shout out to Erriyon. Like I said, I have been watching him since he was started. I thought he was so fast, and I really, was so happy to see a new generation getting ready to come up in sports. Because Noah, he ran this weekend. I think he came in third in the 200 behind the two Jamaican gentlemen who finished first and second. So we need some young blood, and he would have been it. But can you imagine, the competition is fierce? We know that people use steroids in track and field and weightlifting and swimming. I mean, and it all. I mean, they really, really do. So we want to say thank you for all of the time that you've given us of your talent and your gift. I hope that you're able to come back and even better than you were before. Now, my sources were ESPN, CBS Sports, and ABC News. I want to thank you all for joining me for another great episode of Royal Black and Elite. Now, remember, this is for educational and entertainment purposes only, and the Fair Act use is in effect. And all of this is alleged. Now, don't forget, y'all, go down and click down below, learn about some more Royal Black and Elite. And what do you think about Aaron? Have you ever seen him run? What do you think about him being suspended? 4 years. Gosh, that seems like a long time, especially if he's never gotten in trouble before. So I'd like you to do like, share, and subscribe, and leave your comments down below. Have a